It is the Y'all Show, talk with a Southern accent. Jon Rawl, glad to have you back here. It's time to go barbecue grilling with our barbecue barrister, Matt Heermans. And on today's Y'all Show, boy, do we have something extra special on the grill for you. In addition to Matt Heermans on with us on today's Y'all Show, we have a certified, bona fide grilling expert joining Matt Heermans, and that's Matt Moore. Matt has the brand new book that's out called Serial Griller. It just came out last week, and he was supposed to go on the Today Show, and he's choosing today to come on the Y'all Show, talk with a Southern accent. So let's go on, and we'll have our first dual video chat if you happen to be watching us right now at Yall.com or on Yall.com on Facebook. And welcome in both of these, what I call barristers and grillers of perfection, Matt Heermans and Matt Moore, to the Y'all Show. Matt, hello, Matt, both of you.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good afternoon, I should say.
Good morning, good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Thank you both for coming on the Y'all Show. That's Matt Moore, by the way, right there, if you're watching our Facebook or Yall.com stream right now. And he's based out of Nashville. And again, his new book is Serial Griller. And Matt Heermans, let me hear from you, sir.
How are you, John? Happy to be here.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you on here as you're checking in as well as you normally do. And we're both Matt Heermans and yours truly, John, are going to be asking Matt more questions right here. And if you have a question or comment for our author and expert, you talk about a Renaissance man. Okay, let me list off Matt Heermans. I don't know if you can stomach all the things our guest is capable of doing. He's an author. He's a chef. He is a cook. He is a musician. He's a pilot. He's a host of various TV entrepreneurial things. He's an adventurer. He calls himself, Matt, he calls himself a Southern gentleman. Now, you and I thought we were, but this guy, he declares it loud and proud that he's a Southern gentleman. So, good Lord, Matt, you and I are way, way outranked on this one.
Hey, John, let me stop you in real life right now.
Okay.
While you guys talk about me and talk about that intro, no joke. My 4-year-old needs a little assistance in the bathroom.
Okay, well, you go do that, Matt.
While you respond to that, I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Hey,
okay.
The beauty of
live
broadcasting. All right, Matt's going to take a quick break. So right back to the other Matt Heermans. Matt, you've been called away on duties like that before.
I think you can add incredible father to the list of accolades there. I am completely and absolutely
I'm back.
Can relate to that. I've been on baby duty myself here since the virus smacked down. So hey, when it calls, when the kiddo calls, when you got to roll, that's what you got to do. So
well, I've done a lot of broadcasting before, and we've not had something like that happen. But Matt Moore says he's back. So Matt, the big question here, we got to ask Matt Moore. Obviously, that wasn't a number 1 or number 2. It must have been a 0.5 you just had to deal with.
Yeah, it was somewhere in between, but we're all remedied now. So
okay.
Thanks for keeping the words kind while I had to step away for the real duty.
I think your kid just didn't want to hear me bragging about all that Daddy does. Let me repeat that. Author, chef, entrepreneur, cook, musician, host, pilot, adventurer, and maybe most importantly, Southern gentleman. Oh, yeah, he's a father as well. We're talking to Matt Moore, whose brand new book is Serial Griller. Now, that follows several other barbecue and grilling related books. How about this? Have Her Over for Dinner. That was, I think, his debut. Then he had Southern Gentleman's Kitchen. Then The South's Best Butts. Now, that's one heck of a name for a book. And then this brand new book, Serial Griller. So, Matt, congratulations. When we talk about the author part of your life, man, 4 books already in the smoker. Way to go.
Thank you so much, man. It's super fortunate to do what I do and always enjoy telling stories. So certainly thanks for having me on.
How did you get involved with turning your love of writing and grilling and kind of combining it into one happy smoking sensation?
Well, I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and like most Nashvillians, did a tour of duty in the music business. And during that time, I was always the one that would travel and food wherever we were, and realized that I had more fun cooking for friends for the after party than I did playing music. And I learned early on that most guys my age didn't really truthfully know how to cook, and that's why we wrote "Have Her Over for Dinner" was kind of a ploy to get guys in the kitchen to cook for girls. Southern Gentleman's Kitchen was the excuse that you can always go hunting and fishing and still cook that food. And then, of course, when I ran out of my own recipes, then that's when I went out on the road to track down some of the South's best butts and some more serial grillers so that we could continue to add more culture and more recipes to the story.
I like that combination. And Matt Heermans, our barbecue barrister, he has gotten an advanced copy of your new book, Serial Griller. And Matt, I think you'll agree with me, Matt Heermans, that is, not only does it have plenty of great places to go around and check out, but man, does it have great photography to go along on the ride.
Yeah, man, I love the book, and I cannot wait to sit down and go page by page through it again. I think pretty amazing what we just heard from Matt Moore about, and I think he's right. I don't know our ages here, but I bet you we're close in age, and he's correct. Not a lot of folks, particularly guys, but not a whole lot of guys know their way around a grill or a smoker. And, it's one of those things that it's nice to know. It's nice to know how to do it. It's a heck of a lot of fun. And people, women for sure, they like somebody who knows their way around a grill. So I like that idea. That's really, really cool. And, the book's fantastic. Not just for folks who love barbecuing and love grilling, but I think you probably couldn't, if you're not even interested in that, you could probably enjoy that book.
Yes, and that, again, the new book, Serial Griller. When did you kind of start working on this newest book, Matt Moore?
Books are strange animals because they take several years to bring to life. We published South's Best Butts in 2017, and I always kind of joke around. It's been like a 2-year process. We actually wrote Serial Griller summer of 2018. It just took a little bit longer to find the right home and get it to market. Obviously, we're bringing it to a market in a very interesting time with people not being able to patronize events in their local stores. So thankful for you guys to have me on today to kind of chat it through. And, truth be told, like my greatest joy as a writer is telling other people's stories. I usually love being made fun of, and when you give an intro like I can tell that it's been written by a publicist and not myself. I really enjoy the idea of getting out on the road, and especially right now. Serial Griller has 2 of the country's last James Beard best chefs in the country winners. A guy named by the name of Michael Solomanoff up in Philadelphia, and then Ashley Christensen in Raleigh, North Carolina. So you have the top of the game being represented, and then you have folks like the Hoovers in Greenwood, Mississippi. And to me, that dichotomy of different cultures and experiences is really strong, and we're all struggling right now, especially in the restaurant business. So it's fun to be able to actually really shed a light on these stories that I care so much about, and the people, by showcasing who they are. And hopefully if you're at home, you get to read about them, you get to cook their recipes. And my hope is that once we get through with all this, you go patronize their places to make sure that they get through this.
Matt Moore, I know one of the things that you're listed as part of your attributes, you're a pilot, and you sure put that pilot expertise to use in this new book, Serial Griller, as you went all kinds of places. I'm about to show a graphic here of just some of the many places and sort of the glossary of where all you went. But how long have you been a pilot, and how much air mileage did you put in here putting Serial Griller to bed?
Yeah, I mean, I've been flying now, I guess, for myself for about 5 years, but I grew up around general aviation. And we traveled 10,000 miles in this book, not all by air, but as much as we could, because I do have a family at home. And, when the weather's right, I like to time travel. So fortunate to have a great photographer, Andrea Behrens, who shot this book and the last book, The South's Best Butts, which I have to caution you is not a calendar. It's actually a cookbook about barbecue. So we really hit our groove, and I think part of the storytelling is, there's adventure to everything that we do. I kind of want you as the reader to sit in the right seat in the cockpit of a small plane as we're traveling to all these rural and big destinations to meet these great characters. And to me, it's always been kind of a TV show and a cookbook. So I'm always haggling my publisher about putting aviation photos. I think I'm the only person that's writing cookbooks with aviation photos, and I'm actually quite proud of it.
Well, one of the things I noticed with your book is you kind of break it into three different parts. You've got the grilling guide, then the grill masters, and then the killer recipes for everything on the grill. That is a really unique way of making a book flow there. And you talk about some of the grill masters. If you don't mind, give us a little heads up on some of the people featured here again in this brand new book, Serial Griller.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, for me, I honestly think that like diversity is one of the strongest things that makes us such a great country. And one of the commonalities that we have, it doesn't matter your race, your religion, or where you come from. We all come from different places, and one thing that we all celebrate is that food can be made better over fire. So we do feature two of the last James Beard chefs, as I mentioned, Michael Solomon at Zahab in Philadelphia, Ashley Christensen in Raleigh, North Carolina, from a place called in Texas, which is a perfect title for a restaurant to be featured in Serial Griller. But folks like Sylvester and Mary Hoover at Hoover's Grocery in Greenwood, Mississippi, a gentleman by the name of Jerry Baird, who's a chuck wagon cook in Comanche County, Texas, Margie's Grill in New Orleans, Cadillac in Atlanta. I'm always trying to seek out just big characters who are bringing different styles of cuisine and making it authentically theirs, but also showcasing that they're doing a lot of good for the places that they are. Houston, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee is where I live, and we were just hit by the tornado here March 2nd, and it was an incredible experience just to see our community come together. But one of my favorite places we visited was a place called Fajita Go-Go, which was live fired fajitas. And Matt, you understand, like fajitas properly made are always grilled over a mesquite hardwoods, and they're doing that as a to-go concept, not as a sit-down restaurant. But in 2016, when Houston was ravaged by the flood, they were one of the few places that actually was not affected. A lot of their staff was sleeping in the restaurant, and once they were able to actually kind of get up and stand on their knees and stand on their feet, they were actually cooking for all the first responders and the medical team. So there's a lot of great gems that you don't just think that you're going to encounter when you're going out and meeting these people. But I always say that everybody has a story to tell, and it's my job to kind of pull it from them.
This is like a presidential debate. Matt Heermans, he called your name out, so you've got to give him a response.
Yeah, no, he's right about fajitas. There's no doubt about it. It's got to be cooked over mesquite wood. It's got to be a real fire too. Not supposed to be a cooktop. So he's definitely got the bona fides there on the fajitas. I think one of the cool things, Matt, that you're talking about, and I think it's apropos this time that we're having in the country right now, is all the places that you're kind of talking about, the places you go, are at the end of the day, they're small businesses, and they're this is the type of business right now that's really struggling. So I think it's a great thing, particularly if folks want to get the book and kind of look at things. As soon as the country opens up, and it will open up, it's great to go out and support some of these small businesses. These are not giant. These are 1, 2, 3, maybe a little bit more man and woman operations, and kind of the backbone of really good food across the South and across the country for sure. And I think that's great. I think it's fantastic. I think it's apropos right now. It's kind of a weird time to be talking about stuff, but let me ask you this. You mentioned, Greenwood, Mississippi. These are some places that people have never. I've been there. I like the Mississippi Delta. I'm a big fan of the Delta. But a lot of folks are not going to be able to hop in a plane and go to some of these, particularly small places. Houston, millions of people, Nashville, big city, places like that. But what are some of the smaller places you went that you thought were most interesting? I'm curious about that. I know Greenwood is the unique place, right on the river there, and the Viking stove stuff is still there. So it's kind of a destination for some folks. But what are some of the smaller areas you went to that you thought were the most interesting?
Yeah, I mean, the Delta to me, I think, is probably the most interesting place, perhaps maybe not just in the country, but in the northern hemisphere. I mean, it's a place that is still filled with mystery and a lot of history that arguably was probably built on the wrong side of history. But the people there are so incredible, and I think when you get to a town like that, you meet a couple like Sylvester and Ann that are truly feeding their community. And this is a small grocery store that, if you've never been to rural South, if you think you've been to the rural South, you need to go to the Delta, and it will redefine the rural South for you. But it's a place where people take care of each other. And in that community on a Saturday, you got a lot of folks, a lot of moms and dads who have kids that are going to work, and the kids, are walking into that grocery store and they're hungry. They don't have adult supervision, and they rely on folks like Sylvester and Ann to cook them up a burger or a hot dog and send them home. And one of the things that I remember is I never saw the cash register ring as those kids came in. And so, these are people that are running a business in a small town that are actually feeding the kids of the community. They know the parents, but they're just, using food as that medium to take care of each other. And I think that's one of the most poignant stories that we captured in this book. We traveled to a lot of small towns throughout a grilling book and a barbecue book, the one that preceded it. And to me, it's kind of that good mix between what happens in the most urban environments like Philadelphia to a place like Greenwood, Mississippi. And the commonality is that we all are made better by cooking and sharing great food.
Well
Absolutely.
said from our author guest, Matt Moore, right here on today's Y'all Show. Well said, well said. We're talking with Matt Moore, and we got more to talk about after this break. You hang on, because we're going to be right back and wrap up our conversation and wrap up this Y'all Show as we'll continue to talk about the various books that Matt's put out and find out more about some of his grilling tips. We got our barbecue barrister. He's right there, Matt Heermans, and we're going to wrap up our conversation with Matt, and that's coming up right after this break. Okay, Matt Moore, if you want to take a quick 1-minute visit with your children to make sure everything's good, we've got a couple more minutes left with you, if that's okay.
Okay. All right.
And all of our Facebook friends, if you're watching us, we'll be right back. Just letting the parental figures that we have on do their parental thing. But appreciate everybody tuning in and being on the Y'all Show with us here. I want to remind you, we're going to be going on a very special tour. If you are watching us right now on Facebook Live, starting on Tuesday, we're going to go on a tour of East Alabama, courtesy of Auburn Opelika Tourism. We're going to visit Auburn and check out the Auburn, the Auburn, is it the hotel at Auburn? I think I should know. I'm going to learn a lot more. I won't be stumbling over the name of the place. I've actually been a guest there. It's the official Auburn University hotel right there across from the main building on the Auburn campus. We're going to feature it as well as the Acre. That's a new restaurant, or it's been around there a couple of years. We'll be talking with the owner of that property, as well as we feature on our Spring Swing Tour of the South, Auburn Opelika, Alabama, and that's going to be live on Facebook Tuesday, and then it'll be mixed into the Y'all Show on Thursday. So a lot of good stuff coming your way on the Y'all Show. We've got Matt Heermans back ready to go. Matt Moore, are you available?
I am available.
All right, good deal. Then let's.
Not really, but yeah.
Okay. Well, all right, there we go. And Matt, if you'll just continue to stay centered up there in your screen, we'll kick off this final segment. And we are Y'all, talk with a Southern accent, powered by Yall.com, the ultimate guide to the South. Jon Rawl back here for the final segment. We've got our very special guest. That's plural. We've got Matt Heermans, our barbecue barrister, and of course, our very special guest is Matt Moore, who's got the brand new book that's out right now called Serial Griller, and that follows his other books, Have Her Over for Dinner. I might need to learn something there in that one. Southern Gentleman's Kitchen, and maybe the best book title I've seen in a long time, The South's Best Butts. Oh, yeah. Looking good, looking good. And he's now on his fourth book with Serial Griller. And Matt's now back here, the Nashville resident, Atlanta, Georgia native, on now for the final segment, as he's an author, he's a pilot, he's a chef, he's a cook, and I got to ask him, with all the other things that he's known for, Matt Moore, what is the difference between a chef and a cook in your definition, since you're both?
Well, yeah, I don't technically claim myself as a chef because I'm not formally trained. So I think for a lot of the folks that went through a formal education, obviously you could be a a chef by working your way up in the restaurant. But for me, I'm just a cook, and there's probably another word that I say about myself when it comes to telling too many stories that we all.
Okay. Well, your website also lists you as a Southern gentleman, and that's something that we're very tickled to have you on here on today's Y'all Show. Matt Heermans is our also guy that comes on here on the Y'all Show. He's our barbecue barrister, and barbecue barrister Matt Heermans. Want to get your take here as we have Matt Moore on with us. You had a chance to look over the book, and he went all those places, but he's also got a great insider's perspective on that. And how would you evaluate his book thus far from what you've seen?
I love it. Like I said before, I think it's the kind of book for somebody like me who absolutely loves, and Matt put it in a great way. He said, everything can be made better over fire. And that's a great way to encapsulate both barbecue and grilling, which he has distinguished between before, which there is a difference between. But what I like about the book, first of all, I love the locations. I love travel and not just physical travel, but I like being able to read and get into articles, books, things of that nature that take you to a different place, that give you kind of a different feeling, different experience. I love it. I think it's awesome. That book, the book that Matt has created, is not just a grilling book, but it's a travel book. It's a book about people and places and different areas across the South. So I think that's awesome. I also think the coolest thing about it, like I said before, and I'll reiterate, I think it's a book that you can enjoy even if you're not somebody who's going to get out on the grill or fire up the smoke, or even if you're living in an apartment or a condo or someplace, you can enjoy it. It's a book about, like I say, at the end of the day, it's kind of a book about people and places, and I think that's fantastic. So what I do like is that I did want to ask Matt, as someone who, you talk about an impressive resume, I want to know what is your favorite thing, and we'll stick with grilling because John and I have talked about differences between barbecue and grilling, but what is your favorite thing to grill?
Well, first off, I have to say this. I'm fortunate to be on the Y'all show where we actually know there's a difference between barbecue and grilling. So thank you. Because there's a lot of interviews, including my wife who's from Wisconsin, who still doesn't understand the difference, but it is what it is. I love her anyways.
Yeah.
Man, honestly, my favorite thing, it changes daily because it is something like you got to practice what you preach. And one of the recipes that I have literally loved throughout this whole idea of being stuck at home, I'm usually on the road a couple hundred days out of the year. I have 2 young kids, and we have been doing like a spatchcock, like just a whole chicken on the grill, probably 3 to 4 nights a week because we're limiting the time that we're going to the grocery store. So I'm buying whole chickens, cutting out the backbone, doing a version that we have in the book. I might change seasoning here and there. But I got to tell you, Matt, like my kids normally would never eat like a chicken leg. And for the past 6 weeks, like 3 times a week, they're devouring chicken thighs, chicken legs, and they love it off the grill. And it's just because they love that like crispy skin and the char and the savory flavor. So if I really had to take a moment in time, it's just like the simple things like that. Salt and pepper, smoke and fire, and charcoal that is fun to share as a family dinner. And it's a $5 family dinner because everybody gets it. We slice it up, we serve it as a family, and it's been a really special moment to celebrate that recipe out of the book.
That is awesome, Matt. I'm glad you can hopefully hear the motorcycle in the background.
Yeah.
To know that we are live.
Yeah. Only a Southern show would have that kind of sound effect.
Southern joke. Hey, kids in the bathroom, motorcycles,
That's right. So I love that. Spatchcock chicken is really something fantastic.
All right.
So I would encourage
I hate to interrupt both of you. Okay. Both of you are sort of PhDs in grilling and barbecue. For those who aren't on the PhD level, what the heck is a spatchcock? Is that some kind of Alfred Hitchcock mystery?
No, it's just essentially cutting out the backbone of the chicken, right, with a good knife or kitchen shears, and then just breaking the breastbone so it lays flat. So it's kind of like it's an open book. You've got the thighs and the legs poking out, and the breast meat. So it essentially allows you to cook it over direct heat, skin side down, to get that nice crispy char on the skin. We move it to indirect heat so it doesn't burn the chicken and doesn't dry things out until it cooks through. So kind of the best of both worlds. But getting rid of that backbone allows you to cook it more evenly to make sure that the thighs and the leg and the breast is all at the right temperature by the time you pull it off the fire.
Makes sense. Makes
That's
sense.
right.
Okay, Matt
And
Heermans.
chicken skin, I mean, that's one of the best things in the world. So when you spatchcock it, of course, the skin is fantastic. You get that even cook. So congrats on that. That's an awesome thing. I encourage people to look at that recipe in the book and give it a try. It's not as scary as you think it is. It's a good time, like Matt said.
Definitely. And if you mess it up, it only costs you $5.
That's right. That's right. It's not a prime rib. You can just get another chicken, right?
That's right.
Now, Matt Moore, when Matt Heermans travels, he really goes full throat into barbecuedom. I'm assuming you're of the same mold. You go into an area and you just got to try it all out, right?
Yeah. I definitely do. And I'm, honestly, I'm Matt. What he does is particularly the different areas he's going to and he's focused on is kind of my dream. If I didn't have this pesky career, making money for mortgage or something, I'd probably I'd love to do more of that. Now, John, you have asked me, you put me on the spot before, and I'm going to ask Matt this question. He's a grill master as well, and I'm going to give him an out. So I'm going to ask Matt this: gas, charcoal, or both? I guess I'll give you the third option there.
Well, I'm going to be a politician and really not answer your question, but I will tell you, in the book, John, you said it, like we kind of break it up in thirds, and one of the first parts is the grilling guide. And I think, Matt, you would agree with me, like as we talk about, and John too, like my goal is to get more folks cooking. So I'm not a snob about food writing. Like if you don't know what spatchcock is, then let me introduce you to what it means. So if convenience is king, then you're probably going to lend yourself more towards gas grilling. And I'm totally fine with that. In the book, we actually give instructions in every single recipe for both gas and charcoal, which I don't know of another book that actually says, obviously you're going to sacrifice a little flavor if you go gas. But to me, I'm a purist. It's always charcoal. And if I really had the time, it would be burning down hardwoods into embers and using those as my coals. But, at the same time, there are times in my barbecue Q cave, as my wife calls it, I have, I've got egg style smokers, I've got gas grills, I've got charcoal, and the kids are clamoring for that chicken. Then I might actually fire up the gas, knowing that I'm going to sacrifice a little flavor, but I get them dinner in time, and that makes everybody happy.
Wrapping up our visit today with Matt Moore, author of the brand new book. It's called Serial Griller, and that accompanies his other books, Have Her Over for Dinner, Southern Gentleman's Kitchen, and The South's Best Butts. And Matt, you mentioned earlier you've been traveling a lot. You've been traveling for many years with this barbecue thing, so congratulations on that. In fact, as we said as we started this interview, you were supposed to be on today's show in person, I think, but instead you're on the Yall show today. So no Al Roker, you just got Matt and Johnny Boy here. So we're glad that you made that little switch. But you've been on a bunch of these national shows. In fact, I'm going to roll some footage right now of you a few years back. I think you were on Fox and Friends, having a good time there in New York City with the smoker and more. And that, I think you were promoting the South's Best Butts with that appearance. So you're no stranger to being out around the South and around the country promoting your barbecue writing.
Yeah, it's definitely something I love. The South is always my home, and it's the place that I want to be. So being able to take one of our greatest exports, in truth, our greatest export, I think, is our hospitality, followed very secondly by our food. So anytime I have the opportunity to do that, it's an absolute pleasure and joy.
The South, hospitality and food, that's what the South does. Matt, thank you very much for coming on today's Y'all Show and giving us a little bit of an idea of Serial Griller, the new book. And Matt Heermans, thank you also for your participation on today's Y'all Show, and we'll look forward to getting you back on here next week, sir.
I enjoyed it, man. What a treat. I loved it.
All right.
Hey, Matt, next time I'm in Galveston, we'll have to cook together.
That's right. Hit me up. We'll do it.
Hey, y'all are leaving me out. That's no fair. I want to be part of the fun.
You're in the backyard over there in Jackson, Tennessee, so we'll make that happen.
Okay. Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks for letting me in on your little party. Matt Moore, everybody, go check out the new book, Serial Griller. Well, that will wrap up today's Y'all Show. Thank y'all for being a part of the show. Again, Matt Moore coming on, and we also had in the first hour a very, very great teen author in Gracie Dix coming on, and a fantastic conversation. If you missed it, go check it out on our podcast form. We'll be right back here on Wednesday with Country Music Talk, courtesy of Precious Harris. That and ACC Sports, all courtesy of Jonathan Lifite. Right here on the show that's all about the South. This is the Y'all Show.
I hear my wife